Happy anniversary, Promise Church.
Happy anniversary.
Hey, come on, somebody. 2 years down. Super exciting. Man, this is a pretty special day.
Yeah.
And man, we thought that today would be really cool to take a journey.
Yeah.
Take a little bit of a journey and see what that was like about 2 years ago, right? And just kind of how this all came about. Hey, if it's your first time here, strap in your seat belts because we're gonna take you on a little journey.
Yeah.
But it was beginning of 2019. We were in a little bit of a rough transition, you could say.
Yeah.
And kind of just, at the time we were meeting together on Sundays, just watching church online.
Yeah.
Started out, in the living room, and then quickly worked our way into a senior center, and we were just meeting on Sundays, watching online church with a church out of North Carolina named Elevation Church, awesome church.
Yeah.
And just watching services, and we didn't know what exactly was going to transpire, but I think what we did know was that we were around the right people.
Yeah.
And what that group of people was we felt like we were around family. And that's all we knew at the time is we know we're around the right people, but we don't know where we're going just yet.
Right.
And I think that's how it started.
It did. Yeah, and that specific Sunday, we were watching a message. The series was called Flip the Flow.
Flip the Flow.
And it was a message on you know what to do, or you already know. You already know. And we had all these questions, in this certain time, a specific week, like my husband, Pastor Jose, kept asking me, what do we do? What's our next step? And, I was like, I don't know. Let's keep praying about it. Let's keep, seeing, what God, is telling us, And I think sometimes when we pray those prayers, God is already telling us something,
And that's exactly right, because I think in those moments, I knew what I wasn't gonna do, and what I wasn't gonna do was I couldn't walk away from where God had me.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't do, and I was asking God, I was praying. I had multiple people ask me, because we had come out of another situation, and people were asking, hey, are you gonna keep pastoring? Are you gonna, because I was on staff elsewhere as a pastor, and they're like, are you gonna keep pastoring? Are you gonna go pursue what you got your degree in? What's the plan, right? And I couldn't shake, Chico. I couldn't shake, these group of people that were around me, and I was just, I think I would say a little timid to ask God, but really, if I'm honest with myself, I think I just kind of was afraid of the answer.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's how it happens, is we are in situations and we think we know what God wants us to do, but we're afraid of the answer. It makes us a little nervous sometimes.
We don't even know what the next step from here is, how are we gonna do this? We've never done this before, And so this specific Sunday, we heard this sermon. And you want to take it away?
Yeah, man, again, the whole time in prayer, in seeking counsel, and really asking God to speak. And it was interesting because God was speaking for sure.
Yeah.
God was speaking, and now I feel like the moment was up to me to be obedient to what He was speaking.
Yeah. And as we were asking those questions, just even during the service that Sunday, we heard this from Pastor Stephen Furtick.
I know what you're thinking. I already know what you're thinking. I would if I knew what He wanted me to do. I would, do whatever He tells you to do. If you would do what you knew. What do you already know?
That was it.
Yeah.
Do what you know how to do. And what I knew how to do was I knew how to serve. I knew how to love. I knew how to just do what God had told me to do.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment where I'm just like, okay, I feel like I know what you're telling me, God. You're telling me to keep pastoring.
Right.
You're telling us to keep going. You're telling us, hey, you've been doing this. You know how to do this. Keep doing it. And so we looked at each other. We said, hey, man, I feel like God is telling us to do this. I don't know what that looks like. Heck, I don't even know when does that happen? When do we start? All these different thoughts start coming into my mind the minute I'm like, okay, I think I know what I have, like what you're telling me to do, what I should do, but when is the right time? When?
And then that's when we heard Pastor Steven say this.
He didn't let you run out because he left you. He let it run out so he could give you something better than what you brought to the party to begin with. Yeah, you flipped the flow. You have saved, verse 10, the best till now. I know you don't know what I'm going to do, but I already know. I know you don't know why I'm telling you to do this, but I know you don't know why I'm telling you to forgive, but I know what I want to do that I can't do in your life if you have a clogged heart. So do it now. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. And Jesus never points to what's next without dealing with what's now.
Dealing with what is now.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you, I thank God for Pastor Steven Furtick, because he used him that Sunday to speak to me, and matter of fact, to yell at me. And all I kept hearing was now. And it was so funny because I'll never forget this. I heard him say it. I'm watching the TV. I heard him say it. And I kind of shied away from it a little bit. I kind of looked down. And when I look down, I see my wife sitting right next to me taking notes on her iPad, and she literally gets done writing now and underlines now like 3 different times. And it was at that moment I didn't know what it would look like.
Yeah.
But I knew the time was now. And while Promise didn't officially start that Sunday, in my heart the decision had been made that we were going to start this thing.
Yeah.
And we were going to see where God took us.
Yeah, and that was a Sunday. The next day, on Monday, the following day, we just had a meeting. Someone had put together a meeting on what are we gonna do next? Because we're just watching church online at a senior center. No one's really we don't have a pastor or anything like that. And so we were gonna meet that Monday night to kind of just gather everyone's thoughts, and we just told them then, we told them, what was on our hearts and what we felt God was, prompting us to do. And we didn't tell anyone hey, you have to do it with us. We just, asked hey, if you want to, this is what God is calling us to do, And it was just so beautiful to see how so many people just man, let's do this, let's start this church, let's reach more people, let's provide a home, for so many others like us.
That was how we said, okay, let's start.
Yeah.
What transpired after that was about 2 months of boring paperwork that I had to learn about how do you start a church and what goes into that, and had to, I was fortunate to have a lot of great people point me in the right direction to take care of the legal aspect and figure out how we can get it official and all these different things. And March 24th of 2019, we had our very first Sunday as Promise Church of Chico.
Yeah.
And church, I got to tell you guys, we are so grateful. Pastor Riven and I, we could have never imagined what this would have looked like, but it wouldn't have looked like this without you.
Right.
Wouldn't have looked like this without all the people behind the scenes in every different area department. I mean, I'm talking even before we had the children's ministry and we had all these other different ministries, even when it was just a small group of people meeting together and say, hey, how do we make the next Sunday happen? Hey, when we had been asked to transition out of the place we were in, hey, where are we meeting next Sunday? Things like that a lot of people didn't see, but God saw it. God saw it, and I thank God for you all. I thank God for you all, those of you from the beginning, those of you that have just joined us as of late, those of you that are just joining us now. We're grateful for you. We're grateful, and we feel so privileged and honored to just have the privilege to serve in this house and to be called to lead this church alongside all you amazing people. Because what I know is the family's gotten bigger, but it's still family. And and that's what is precious to us, and that's what we cherish so much about Sundays, is that it's not just about a meeting. It's a family.
Yeah.
And if you're new here, man, we want to welcome you to the part of the family.
Yeah.
But we're just so thankful for each and every one of you.
Yeah, and here, at Promise Church, our mission, is to connect people to God, to love, to build, and to serve, and that is what Promise Church does. And when I say Promise Church, it's you, Promise Church. The greeting team, the cafe team, the Promise Kids, the
Yes.
worship team, the maintenance team, the church, improvement team,
Hey.
like all these teams, the unseen teams, the online experience teams, the sound team, every single team. And we just want to say thank you, but because these last two years have been a blast because
Yes.
of you. We have so much fun, like pastoring a church is so much fun because of all of you.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you so much, and when I think back to that beginning stage and, our name, Promise Church, I remember I was just laying in bed and I casually just told him when we were thinking about like names, like, oh, we should, name our church like Promise. And I think at the moment he kind of just like disregarded it, like kind of like, oh, like whatever. But then as we kept brainstorming, we just kept seeing like a bunch of like different promises
Yeah.
that God was just bringing to fruition in
Yes.
our lives and the people around us, in their lives. And so we
Yes.
were like, it suits us,
Yeah.
And then I remember Pastor Jose had a conversation with Jared, and it like even solidified it even more. And what did Jared say? That we were just like standing on a promise.
Yeah.
That's all we had.
That's all we had.
When
was a promise.
when it seemed like everything was falling apart, we had a promise from God. We were standing on a promise. And church, that is us. That is you. And so I am just so grateful. We're
So
so
grateful.
grateful, to have been through this journey with all of you.
And we're so excited for what the future holds.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that has been so clear to us is that God is with us. God is with us, and He has been leading us. He has been providing, let alone the statistics that show of the likelihood of churches even making it to the year mark are insane. But now even more so with a pandemic, the fact that God has brought us through, and not only brought us through, but sustained us, and then even brought us to a new height through, with just us being able to have our own building, all the improvements we've been able to make, the new awesome people we've got to meet, all of those things. To us, is just this piece of knowing, man, God is with us.
Yes.
And if God is with us, right, it doesn't matter what comes against us. It doesn't matter what the future
Right.
holds, because we know who holds the future. And we look forward to living a life in service of others, to being a light here in Butte County, in our city, in Chico, this beloved city of Chico that we all love so much. We look forward to not necessarily getting big, but to having a big impact.
Yeah.
So Promise Church, we love you guys. God bless you all, and let's go.
Let's go.